Okay, so you guys all got exercise 227 as a handout. I'm guessing that as it gets closer to Wednesday, fewer of you will be here. That being said, it doesn't change the fact that there will be an exercise 228 to do. I also recognize that the website really is terrible right now. I have pulled my hair out. I actually got an email notification overnight on the weekend. I think it was Saturday night at like 3 in the morning, saying my server had been running at more than 100% CPU load for 8 hours or something. So I have no idea what it's doing or why it's doing what it's doing. But I did buy a second server, and I'm going to migrate to the second server and then off the first server. But that takes time. So I haven't gotten there yet. I know it's really slow. You can still post stuff to it. I will make sure that I have all your stuff off the old one before I do the new one. That being said, if you're so enthusiastic about digital tools that you happen to be looking at the website over Thanksgiving break, not that I don't know if you actually would, but let's say that you were and the website's down, recognize that the reason it's down is because I'm in the middle of migrating stuff. So there's fair warning that that's what's going on. But all that being said, it doesn't have any impact on rendering in V-Ray. So we can still do that part of things. And that's what we're going to do today. We are moving in the direction, obviously you've seen us going, daytime exterior, daytime interior,
Interior and exterior.
You get the idea. We did interior night, now we're going to do exterior night. We will, when we get back from Thanksgiving break, spend some time dealing with sections and elevations and kind of more of the other types of rendering that you'd like to get out of it. So there is a plan, there is a trajectory of where we're going, but for today we're going to work on the exterior. The other thing that I like to do is as it gets closer and closer to the end of the semester, recognize when we get back we have like 3 or 4 class days, 5 class days, something like that before the final. So there's not a whole lot of time left, and as it gets closer I like to just give you time to work because you're going to end up with questions and whatever, and we just do that. So you will also notice that what we're doing for exercises kind of aligns with what's due in the final, so what you're doing hopefully will be beneficial as you go forward. Okay, so I have the same scene that I worked on last class. The difference is that we want to switch from being an interior to being an exterior. So what I need to do is I need to set up a view outside that is a view that I'm interested in rendering. But beyond that, right now all I have are lights that are in the interior of the scene. And if we're going to do an exterior night rendering, I really need to bring some lights out so that I can light the exterior. If I were to do a render right now, I would certainly get some light cast from inside coming out the windows, but I wouldn't really get a lot of light on my building if I want light on my building. And I'm going to go ahead and put a few lights on the exterior just so that you can see what they look like. If you don't like the lights, you don't have to do them. It's all kind of a matter of what you see and what looks appropriate for you. So I already spent a little bit of time working on some up lights for my staircase here, where let me zoom in here for a second. I built a little tiny piece of geometry there that's like a little puck light looking thing that's in the stairs to light up this wall. I'm going to use these outside. They're modeled loosely after some of the lights that are in downtown Walnut Creek that are in the sidewalks that you can walk across. And I did kind of the same thing here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy both the little light and the cone. And we'll go ahead and copy this from the outside, from the inside to the outside. So now that it's on the outside, we'll do a few transformations here to make sure it's in the right spot. There. Let's move this a little bit further away from the wall. Let's go another 4 inches. Ortho. There we go. And let's move this. Something like that. Not too bad. Let's copy this. Okay. I don't really know that this is exactly what I want, but we're going to give it a shot and see. switch to wireframe really fast so I can see this inside. There we go. Let me move.
What is the intrinsic material?
It's
30?
We'll have to look at it. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Let's do. Alright, so I put a few of those as little uplights on the outside. Let's switch back into shaded mode so we can see them. So they're there. That'll work for right now. You asked the settings for those. Yeah, I did 30 watts each. Yeah. Okay, so now it's a matter of we're going to get a view of my scene. I've done this view a lot, so I'm actually going to do a different view as if I were standing down looking at this. Just for change of pace, something different to look at. Okay, so I have this set up here. I'm going to go ahead and save this view before I do the render. So I'm going to go to Set View, Named Views, and I'm going to make sure that I save this. Save as. Maybe. There it is. We're going to do, this is exterior night. And I'll go ahead and click Save. Perfect. Okay, so I have this ready to go. I do, however, need to work on some of my V-Ray options. So let me go into my V-Ray options here, and let's have a look at what I have currently set up for the environment. So some of this I've already pre-set up, but I'm going to go through the process anyway with you. I'm going to click on the little map to make sure I load my HDRI image, and I'm going to pick the HDRI off the Q drive, I hope. Which of course isn't mapped yet. Hold on a second.
Which one, the moonlight one?
Sorry about that. Alright, so there it is. There it is. My GI is the one that I'm going to use for my global illumination. And so we'll say OK. And then on this lower one here, it's going to be just a plain Moonlit 3. I'll go ahead and say open. Okay, so I have both of those on. I do want to make sure that my sunlight is off. And so I've got environment sun, there it is, that's off, that's good. And now I can go ahead and do the first iteration of this render. So I'm going to go ahead and start rendering. I should have checked how big it was. Hold on. Now we have to wait. Yeah, definitely too big. So let me go back into my options here. And go to my system, make sure my distributed rendering is on, which I didn't have any, so it's a good time to make sure of that. So I'm going to go through and add this room. And we'll make this a little faster by copying and pasting here. And I did not restart the computers this morning, so I don't know that all of these are working, but I'll go around after and make sure that any computers that are off will go back on for us to be able to use them. And I know that this is a little bit tedious to type these in, but I know that this room, all the Q drives are working correctly, so it's worth my effort to make sure I don't get any Q drives that aren't working, in which case I'd have little holes in my drawing, which I don't want. So. Okay, that's enough for right now, but I'll go through and add the rest before I do my final render on this. Okay, so let me go ahead and resolve those servers. There they are. I'll say OK. So those are set up. Let me go to my output and make sure that, again, I'm using my image aspect ratio, but I want a nice small one. so we'll pick a small one. Gonna make sure my caustics are off, which is good. Isn't that beautiful? No. Okay, so now I've got that set and ready to go. I'll go ahead and render, and we'll see. This might take a little bit of time before it shows up, but we'll let it run. And then I'll come back and talk about how it's doing.